Okay, photo students, so this is the tutorial on how to make a test strip from your 5x7 paper negative that you shoot with your pinhole camera in Photo 1. So, the materials and items that you will need to make your test strip are the following. You will need to have your correctly exposed negative that you made with your pinhole camera. You will need this right here, which is called our contact printer. You guys have had some familiarity with this already when you did your puzzle piece photogram, but to review, this is just a metal frame with a heavy leaded glass overlay. Okay, so you will need your negative, you will need your contact printer. You will also need a test strip. Now this is obviously an exposed one because I'm having to do this tutorial in the light. You guys will obviously not be printing while the darkroom lights are on. This would all happen in the red light, but because those are too dim to shoot a video in, here we are. So you achieve the test strip by going and taking a piece of your 5x7 photo paper and cutting it into thirds, right? Vertically. So what you're going to do is this. You are going to make sure that your enlarger head is all the way up. You are going to ensure that your aperture is also all the way open. And you're going to ensure that your safety filter is on. Once you do those three things, enlarger all the way up, aperture all the way open, safety filter on, okay? You can turn the enlarger on with the focus mode, and you're going to take your test strip, emulsion side up, and you're going to place it facing emulsion side up on the bottom of the contact printer. You are then going to take your negative and place it emulsion face down in the contact printer and close the contact printer. You might notice there's a little bit of overlap here on this. That is because that is technically a test strip taken from a larger sheet of paper. Don't worry about that. The other thing that you're going to need to make a test strip is a piece of cardboard. The contact printer and the piece of cardboard can be found in the drawer where your enlarger station is. Okay? So, once you have your test strip emulsion side up facing the enlarger, and then your negative emulsion side down facing the test strip, you are going to take the piece of cardboard and cover up everything but about maybe ½ inch of your negative, okay? And what you're going to do is make sure that that is covered. Okay, everything else is covered. Just like you did for the puzzle piece photogram, you're going to set your timer. You're going to make sure your enlarger control is off. You're going to set it to timer, and you're going to set your timer for 2 seconds. Okay? You are then going to move your safety filter and then expose for 2 seconds. You're going to turn off the timer. You're going to reset it for 2 seconds, and then you're going to move the piece of cardboard another inch or so. You're going to turn it on, expose for another 2 seconds, turn it off, reset for 2, move the cardboard. This is now my third exposure. Okay, turn it off, reset for 2, move the cardboard. Okay, that's my fourth. I'm going to turn it off, reset for 2, and because now I'm getting near the end of my negative, I'm just going to take the cardboard away and I'm going to expose it one last time for 2 seconds. Okay? I'm going to turn my enlarger timer off. I am then going to take my test strip and I'm going to go develop it in the chemicals all the way through the process. And then I will come back in a second to show you what that looks like and how to read the test strip. To review, to set up for a test strip for your negative, once you have shot your negative, you need to go in the darkroom with your negative, cut some test strips out of your photo paper, get the contact printer and the piece of cardboard out from the drawer at your enlarger station. Enlarger head is all the way up, aperture is all the way open. The test strip goes emulsion side up in the bottom, and the negative goes emulsion side down on the top. You cover everything except about 3/4 of an inch. Set your timer for 2 seconds, expose, reset, move cardboard, expose, reset, move cardboard, expose, reset, move cardboard, expose. And then once you are on your 5th time, take the cardboard away and expose for another 2 seconds. Then take your test strip and go develop it as normal in the chemicals. I will be right back to show you what that looks like. Okay, so once you do your test strip, it's going to look like this. If you notice, there are different gradations of time going across this. Now this image has a lot of lines in it, so it may be a little hard to see. But you can easily see right here this line, right? The next line is right about there. See if I can get a little more light on that subject. There we go. The next line is right about there. Then the next line, and then the next line, and then the bottom part. Keep in mind, the darkest part of your test strip is the one that got the most light. So, we made this test strip using 2-second intervals, and we did it 5 times. Meaning that, in order to read this test strip, you start at the darkest part, right? If we did it 5 times, the darkest part is 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? If I look at my test strip, what I'm trying to discern is what's going to be the best looking print that I can get out of this. Well, obviously 10 is too dark. 8 is too dark because we've lost all the detail here in our acetone can. 2 is going to be way too light. 4 is still a little light. 6 is getting a little dark. So what that means is if 4 looks about right but maybe a little light, and 6 is looking a little on the darkish side, let's split the difference and call it 5 seconds. So to review, we used 2-second intervals on this test strip. That means in order to read the test strip, you start either at the top or the bottom. I usually start at the bottom because I know that that's always 2 seconds. So 2 seconds here, 4 seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds. Right around in here looks good, between 2 and 4, so I'm just going to make my final exposure for 5 seconds. That means that now that I have read my test strip, I'm going to take this test strip, which I took out of the rinse after 2 minutes. I'm going to put it back in the rinse for another 3 minutes, so it completes its 5-minute journey in the rinse. I'm going to take this, put it back in the rinse, and then I'm going to come back to my station and make my final print, which I will show you in a second. Now that I have made my test strip and determined that my exposure time for my negative here is going to be 5 seconds. The rest of it is super easy. I have put my test strip back in the wash because I took it out 2 minutes in so that I could check it. I put it back in the wash for the rest of its 3-minute balance in the wash. Now I'm just going to come back to my station. I'm going to pull out a fully brand new unexposed piece of photo paper. I'm going to place it emulsion shiny side up on the bottom of the contact printer, and just the same as I did before, I'm going to take the negative and put it emulsion side down. I'm going to close the contact printer because when we just read our test strip, I determined that 5 seconds was a good exposure time. I'm going to make sure my timer is off. I'm going to make sure that it is set on time, which is to the left. I'm going to set it for 5 seconds. I'm going to make sure that my safety filter is off, and I'm going to go on ahead and expose. Once that turns off, I'm going to turn off my timer. I'm going to take that newly exposed blank piece of photo paper, and I'm going to go develop it and get my full print, which I will show you in a moment. Okay, everybody, so now that I have done the steps to make my final print, I will show you. This went all the way through the process. This is my final print from my negative, original negative. That is a 5-second exposure. Okay, so the reason why this is a good time and a good exposure, I'm trying to keep it at an angle because it's still wet, is that there are black blacks, there are white whites, and there are a fair amount of grays in between. As an example, I went ahead and did an exposure for 3 seconds as well, using the same setup. And if you look at that one, you can see kind of the subtle differences here. You can tell that this is slightly lighter. This has a little more darkness at the edge. This has a little more detail at the edge. To be honest, both of these are probably acceptable prints. This one is lacking a little bit of true black in it, which is kind of hard to see in the camera because this camera does increase contrast a bit. So 5 seconds is still the best time. But I wanted you guys to see the difference really that a couple seconds can make, because it really can make a big difference. All right? Thanks, guys.